What? How am I alive?
We found your body in the purifier, Deputy. You were suffering from advanced radiation sickness, but we managed to stabilize your condition with liquid plot contrivance. We saved you because we believe in you. Go forth and embrace your destiny. Bring law and order to the Commonwealth. We will be watching you.
What the is going on? Hey, do I look a little different to you? Probably nothing.
Enjoy your return to the surface, and thank you for choosing Vault Tech.
Whoever took my son and killed my wife, I'm gonna serve you a hot, steaming dose of justice. As I head back home, I find my robot butler Codsworth, and with his help, search the neighborhood for my kid. All we end up finding are some bugs, so I move on to look for someone who can help in Concord. Feels like I should bust out the chalk and draw an outline around this guy. I ignore getting myself a police canine for now, as I feel using companions goes against the spirit of the challenge. Alright, it's at this point where I pause the recording to do some things off camera. It was nothing major, mostly just scrapping stuff at Sanctuary and Red Rocket, crafting myself a police hat, clearing out the mole rat den, and getting the intimidation perk. Got it? Good, now let's continue. I see a shootout going on, and when I approach, some maniac rushes me with a knife. I try to calm him down, but he doesn't listen, so I have to use self-defense. How this is gonna work is that I have to try to use the intimidation perk on every human enemy I come across. If I can't intimidate them or it doesn't work, then I'm free to defend myself. I can't attack any human that is surrendering or fleeing from me, and I can't use sneak attacks against humans as well. Preston Garvey tells me to take the laser musket on the ground, but I'm not comfortable robbing a dead person, so I politely refuse. In the museum, I only managed to pacify 2 of the raiders.
Shit.
We can do this the easy way?
Don't shoot me.
But there's a problem. Preston says he won't open the door until all the raiders are dead. Luckily, I have a solution, in that putting your weapon down causes pacified enemies to turn hostile again. Hey, not my fault they decided to attack me after I put my gun down as a sign of trust. The gang wants me to use power armor and a minigun to clear out the raiders. I already got a fusion core from the mole rat den, but I'm not sure of the legality of power armor or handheld miniguns, so I opt for my standard kit instead. There is a way to jump from the balcony to ground level while only taking minimal damage, and since the raiders are focused on trying to kill my new friends, taking them down isn't much of a problem. The same cannot be said for the Deathclaw. The raiders whittle it down a bit, but I don't want to waste all my ammo on the thing, so I guess it's time to take him out to the ball game. Insert obligatory Earthbound, Off, or Walking Dead joke here. Due to the way the Deathclaw clips into the building, I have just enough room to get a swing in and retreat before being disemboweled, with Preston offering sniper support with his laser musket. The annoying part is that it starts running back and forth around the town, forcing me to lure it back into my safe zone. With a final few shots, the beast goes down, and I head to Diamond City to look for my boy. On the way, I come across a traveling merchant who I buy a hunting rifle, leather armor, and ammo from. I'm allowed to buy and sell any item as long as it's not an illegal gray area, which includes addictive substances, cigarettes, and human remains, along with a few other bits and pieces that I determine on a case-by-case basis. Now it's time for a very legally questionable quest, Order Up. I can pass the first charisma check to make Wolfgang and Simone put their weapons away, but anything past that involves robbing them. Since I'm not aware of their wrongdoings yet, I can't pass it in confidence. I agree to talk to Trudy about the situation, and when I learn they're drug dealers, I try to arrest them, but they won't listen. Trudy then pays me to commit murder, and when I refuse, she guns me down. It seems there's no legal way out of this quest, so I just persuade Trudy to pay them, not forcing her mind you, just talking her into it, buy a shotgun from her, and then leave. I let illegal drug dealing occur, but I didn't do it myself. With that legal conundrum over, I continue my trek to Diamond City, where I stumble across some mentally unstable, mutated people who won't listen to reason and attack me. I try to defend myself, but there's just too many of them, so I make a hasty retreat and let the Brotherhood do what they do best. The main reason I came into the police station are the patrolman sunglasses, as it lets me almost complete my look. A cool detail about the mod I'm using for the police clothes, it also changes the Diamond City guards to wear them as well. Anyways, after being roped into Piper's little scheme against my will, I confess to the gate guard, who forgives me in turn. I then buy some ammo from Arturo, find out that the local detective has gone missing, and get a bloat-fight gland for Dr. Duff for some easy EXP. When I head outside, I see a man holding a gun at someone, so I intimidate him into putting his weapon away and his hands up. Thank God I was able to resolve this peacefully.
Kyle, no!
Never mind. Before finding the detective, I'd like to level up a bit more, so to that end, I meet up with Preston in Sanctuary, which gets me the Gunslinger perk, buy some crops from Trudy and make some defense towers, as I don't think jury-rigging machine guns in your yard is legal, make myself a proper police uniform to replace my vault suit, turn in my progress to Sturgis for some more easy EXP, and begin to make my fence post Empire. I also do Piper's quest for some easy EXP, and I gotta say, her calling me Blue is a lot more fitting now. Back on track, since I know I'm going into an area filled with criminals who have someone hostage, I sneak in and intimidate everyone one by one, using the power of Save Scumming. Yeah, the perk has a random chance to work, so I have to keep rolling the dice until I get lucky. Eventually, I manage to pacify everyone in the part leading up to the vault, except for one guy who wouldn't cooperate, but then I run into a problem. To open the vault door, I have to put my weapon away, which causes the triggermen behind me to betray their surrender and gun me down while I can't move. I get around this by using the trick of putting my gun away beforehand to make them hostile, then getting into a good position where I can VATS them before they fill me with lead. Another problem with intimidation is that there are invisible triggers where enemies will turn hostile no matter if they're pacified or not, which leads to situations like this where when I get close to these two, they commit perfidy. After some trial and error, I get to Dino, but he can't be pacified, so I have to use both cover and healing to take him down. You're supposed to take the password from his corpse to open the door, but looting corpses is prohibited by my rules. Hacking is also prohibited, however, since this is the criminal gang's computer, and I'm hacking it to save someone from a kidnapping, I think I'm legally in the clear. One thing that's disappointing though, if you pacify these three triggermen, Nick still says this.
Hard and loud, huh? Well, it gets the job done. Too bad for whoever cleans up the floors.
Nick.
Also, he can apparently open doors with his mind. Anyways, with a fellow lawman by my side, the rest of the vault isn't too bad. Anyone I can't pacify is in such close quarters that I can neutralize them without much of a fuss. I talk Darla into leaving Skinny Malone so we can leave in peace, and then make my way to Good Neighbor to start a very fitting quest, after ignoring some guy yelling at me about insurance. That quest is, of course, the Silver Shroud, which is all about taking down some criminal scum, so how could I refuse? I put that on hold for the moment as I discover another area I'll need later, the Old North Church. There are some ghouls in here, but since I know feral ghouls can't be reasoned with and are more akin to animals than people, I can try to take them down with impunity. Keyword being try. The ghouls down here do massive damage due to my lackluster armor, and are quite tanky for my level, so I have to sneak past them rather than engaging. Fun fact, since I haven't done anything noteworthy yet, Deacon just has to bullshit a reason for letting me in.
Well, he's got to be someone. He made it down here, right? Normal people just don't do that.
I'm able to clear up any misunderstandings and get in the railroad's good graces, so I think we can consider any trespassing charges dropped. Back in Diamond City, I continue the criminal investigation to find my missing son, which involves searching Kellogg's house. Luckily, I can get a warrant from the mayor himself, so I'm legally in the clear. Just to be on the safe side, I don't pick up anything in his house besides the needed pieces of evidence. I can't go after him just yet, as there's a perk I'll need which I'll explain later, so I go to investigate another missing person, that being Earl Sterling. Vadim gives me a key to his house, which I'm only going into to make sure he's safe, mind, and I find a surgery receipt that leads me to the center, where I find some blood on the ground and convince Dr. Sun to give me the key. In the basement, I find Dr. Crocker making abstract art out of Earl's corpse. I try to arrest him properly, but he decides to commit sewer slide. To be fair, I did try to stop him, and I administered aid after the deed was done, but it was of no use. I did consider doing the other detective quest, but that involves digging up the grave of a coppersmith, so I shied away from it. Besides the perk, there's another thing I'd like to have before facing Kellogg, and that's a better gun. Conveniently, a very good gun can be found in Vault 81, so I convinced them to let me in and see that, sadly, it's way out of my price range. I do buy the Destroyer's right leg to increase my movement speed by 10%, however. While I can't face Kellogg just yet, I still run up to Fort Hagen so I have it on my map for later. That is, after running into Ness. Alright, admit it, how many of you know this character exists? Anyone? While she doesn't teach me the secrets of PK Fire, she does give me a mission to scavenge a plane site, which I keep on the back burner for now. Heading to Hubris Comics, I run past all the ghouls, grab the costume, and fall through some holes in the floor to escape. My first target is a murderer named Wayne Delancey. I try to be helpful and warn him that someone's out for his head, but he takes this as a threat and attacks, so I'm forced to defend myself. Next target is AJ, who's selling illegal drugs to children. I try to talk him out of it, but he doesn't listen to reason, so again, I have to defend myself. As for his bodyguards, I pacify one and take out the other. Next up is Kendra, who bombed 4 innocent drifters, but she's trickier as her base is in the middle of super mutant territory. Luckily, I'm able to sneak past the mutants, but nobody in here can be pacified, so I just have to run and hide. Kendra, despite the spooky skull next to her name, goes down like a chump after she attacks me for questioning her. At this point in the quest, however, I've hit a snag. Since I ignored Finn when first entering Goodneighbor, Hancock cannot move on to the phase where I have to talk to him as the Silver Shroud, so the quest can't progress any further. This is actually a good thing, as now the Silver Shroud armor will stay as a quest item and not take up any weight in my inventory. Also, Northy, one of the people you have to kill for the quest, always runs away instead of attacking you, and you have to loot his corpse, so continuing crosses a legally dubious line I'm not comfortable with. But you know what doesn't cross a legally dubious line? Helping some mercs take over a plane crash site that's been invaded by raiders. I try my best to pacify everyone I can, but oddly enough, the mercs still kill the ones that surrender. Welp, I tried my best, so with the raiders cleared out, I get my pay from Ness and get out. Honestly, I just wanted to do this since I've literally never heard of this quest before. The EXP from it did level me up though, letting me get the Wasteland Whisperer perk, which will be vital as you'll see later. For now, I'd like to get the Minutemen questline started, so I head to Corvega, neutralize the perimeter guard, and then this happens.
Just chill out, asshole.
Maybe don't surrender right next to your own IED next time. Anyways, I hold up most of the raiders on the way to the elevator, take out their turrets with sneak attacks, and manage to pacify the raider leader, which I have been tasked to kill. This doesn't progress the quest, so I have to do the old put away my gun so he tries to kill me trick, and book it the hell out of there. Turning in the quest and building some more fence posts levels me up twice, where I get rank 2 of Idiot Savant and rank 1 of Cap Collector. Alright, now it's time for Fort Hagen, as the Wasteland Whisperer perk works on synths. At first, I try pacifying all the synths, and it does work, but there's just so many of them with such hard-hitting weapons that I just have to run through. In the command center, I find out that shooting the legs of a synth makes them useless, even if they have a gun, as if you get behind them, they can't turn around to shoot you. The rest of the synths I either pacify, run past, or gun down using an inordinate amount of healing supplies in the process. Finally, we come to Kellogg, the man who killed my wife and kidnapped my son, and I've got no ammo to kill him with. This presents a serious problem, as he locks down the building so you can't escape. In the end, what I'm forced to do is lockpick into a supply room to grab a fat man and a mini-nuke and perform a critical strike to his bald-ass head as soon as he turns hostile. While it may seem legally dubious to use a man-portable nuke on a person, he's the one who locked me in here without giving me a chance to resolve this peacefully, so I really had no other choice. Even then, it's still not an easy fight, as his revolver does an ass load of damage and he turns invisible so I can't VATS him. What ends up working is using a frag grenade and a Molotov against him while hiding behind a door, waiting for his stealth boy to wear off so I can shotgun him in VATS, and then quickly finishing him with my pistol. I do take everything off his body in a panic, but I think we can class that under obtaining evidence for a criminal investigation and leave it at that. One dig through a dead guy's brains later, I sell a bunch of stuff to buy the Overseer's Guardian, and I'm left with almost no money. Trust me, it's worth it. Since I'm in the area, I make a detour to Oberlin Station to do a quest for them, which just involves killing a few rad roaches and low-level ghouls. I then touch on something I've been avoiding for this run so far, weapon mods. There are some mods that are illegal depending on the circumstances, such as sawed-off shotgun barrels, silencers, and automatic conversions, so as long as I stay away from those, I should be fine. I end up making Overseer's Guardian semi-automatic, giving Kellogg's pistol a reflex sight, giving my hunting rifle a longer barrel, and of course giving them all fitting names. The next place I've been tasked to clear out is Starlight Drive-In, and this one is just mole rats, so again, easy as pie. I should note that I have been giving all my settlements proper food, water, beds, and defense, as well as scrapping some things. I just haven't been including it since it's not very fun to watch. We're now at the part where I have to retake the castle, and on the way I even find another police station. That has illegal drugs in the toilet. Disgraceful. With my Overseer's Guardian, the Mirelurks go down rather easily. That is, until we come to the Queen. Her acid can kill me in 2 hits, and she takes gunfire like a champ, not to mention all her babies that distract me and waste my time. Eventually, I find a hole in the wall I can shoot her through while she can't reach me, and I use this to cheese my way to victory. After killing her, I decide I might as well clear out the armory for later, so I disarm some mines, kill a turret, and take down Sarge the robot. It takes more than a few tries, but eventually I'm able to put the tin can out of commission. Next on the agenda is helping Blake Abernathy get his locket back, which I pull off with minimal bloodshed. Then I've got to go to Greentop Nursery, but on the way I come across Skinny Malone of all people. I honestly didn't know this was a thing. The settlers there want me to deal with some ghouls, and I do so using the patented blow your leg off technique, making them completely useless in a fight. There is a legendary Reaver that could have caused a bit of a problem, but a critical sneak attack headshot puts him out of his misery. The main ghoul I have to kill is a legendary glowing one, and while I do get some good shots on his leg, I'm ultimately forced to retreat. Luckily, he followed me into a tight corridor where I was able to VATS his leg off at close range, and then quickly finish him off. Since there's another settlement I need to go to right next to the training yard, I skip on over and they task me with killing a raider in Revere Beach Station. There are far too many high-level raiders outside the station, so I just run through, but the one in power armor decides to follow me in. I somehow manage to intimidate him despite the fact he could crush my skull with one hand. I then run past all the other raiders, kill Cinder, and GTFO. It's at this point where I decide that all the bonuses of my armor are worth losing a small amount of resistance from the Silver Shroud set, so I take it off for the rest of the run. I then build some artillery pieces for the quest Old Guns, and I test them on an abandoned building, which I made sure was abandoned ahead of time, but I didn't use artillery for the rest of the run, so I think I'm in the clear. If anyone more versed in law can tell me if this was okay, I'd appreciate it. Now it's finally time to do the Glowing Sea, and while I thought this would be a lot worse, since Rad-X stacks, I can take multiple doses and run past all the enemies without taking too much radiation. That is, until the Rad Scorpions attack the religious nutjobs. I'm able to pacify all 3 scorpions, but the cultists still fire their radiation guns at them, which do nothing since they're immune to radiation. Therefore, I can't talk to them and have to continue without their guidance. Thank God I remember roughly where Virgil's cave is. Virgil sends me after a courser, and since I discovered CIT earlier, getting to Green Tech is no problem. This mission has you fighting mercenaries, not raiders or gangsters like every other mission I've done so far, so I make sure to meticulously pacify every gunner in the building so I don't have any blood on my hands. I still take out their turrets though. While this may have taken a long ass time, it ultimately saved me ammo and the wrath of the one with the missile launcher, so I didn't mind it that much. The courser, however, cannot be pacified, so I am forced to Control-Alt-Delete his ass. I made sure to save a critical, which is followed up by a few more headshots, and then I hip fire 45 rounds into him until he stops twitching. I also saved the synth because I figured it was the right thing to do. Since I snuck past the ghouls in the railroad's crypt earlier, I have to take them out now, but Overseer's Guardian makes that a much easier task. With the chip decoded and the teleporter built, I could head into the underground technocracy right away, but I know what's coming up soon and I want to be prepared. So I send every companion possible to the castle and build walls to block off every possible entrance and exit, just to be safe, of course. As soon as I arrive, I have reason to believe this crazy old man mind-controlled my son into going unconscious upon hearing a certain phrase, and so I don't believe a single word he says.
This is insane. All of it! All we're missing are the teacups and the white rabbit.
I am your son.
Bullshit.
He then kicks me out of the Institute and tells me I'm now hostile to them, and considering that the Institute has been kidnapping and killing people indiscriminately, I think it's fair to call them a terrorist organization and declare war on them. If they wouldn't have messed with us, there'd be no problem, but I can't let a threat to the common good of the people go unpunished. To cement my decision, the Institute launched an attack on our home base, but since I barricaded the perimeter with wooden dressers, they just awkwardly clump up where I can shoot them through the gaps. Eventually, they do wise up and teleport troops directly into our base, and while they still do a lot of damage, I'm able to pacify the coursers for some baffling reasons. Yes, the badass murder agents programmed to kill and do nothing but kill can be intimidated by some random guy. I won't lie, this part was not easy. I had to chug healing supplies like they were candy, and use up quite a bit of ammo in the process, but eventually I got through the assault. Another funny thing that happened is this courser tried to run for his life, but because of my dresser barricade, he got stuck while my companions ganged up on him. Before the final mission, I sell almost everything I own for more 45 rounds. I infiltrate the Institute for the last place they'd expect, the place where all their poop goes, and there's nothing down here except mole rats, ghouls, turrets, and low-level synths, so I won't bother going over it. The next section has some more advanced synths that I can thankfully pacify, and once I make it into the Institute proper, all my allies do a fine job distracting the synths and coursers while I get to work pacifying them and neutralizing the ones that resist, making sure not to hit any of the unarmed scientists in the process. Using Father's terminal lets me unlock the way forward, shut down some of the synths, and order all the civilians to evacuate, so you can't say I didn't kill anyone who didn't deserve it. I then plant the charge, take my decidedly real son with me, and blow up the Institute in a huge nuclear explosion, irradiating and injuring potentially hundreds of nearby innocents and causing untold property damage, proving that, no, you can't beat Fallout 4 without breaking the law. Although, you sure as hell can try. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to not miss content like this in the future. If you didn't like the video, leave a dislike and give constructive criticism so I can improve. You can also support my Patreon or become a channel member, in which case I'll shout you out and make your suggestions much more likely to become a reality. Check me out on Reddit or Discord using the links in the description, or check out my second channel, The Loophole, where I post everything that doesn't fit on this one. This is Causal Loop, signing off. Peace.